What's up, guys? This is Eric with the Net Angle, where we break down political news, debates, and drama. And today, I'm going to break down a debate between Dean Withers and Emily Wilson from Jubilee's Face Off. These two have debated before, and it's usually filled with some pretty jaw-dropping moments. Little backstory: Dean's a 21-year-old streamer. He blew up after debating Charlie Kirk on Jubilee, and now he debates right-wingers constantly on YouTube. And then there's Emily Wilson. She's a 32-year-old influencer who runs a channel called Emily Saves America. And let's just say she had a rough showing here. So let's jump into the first clip.
People are crying at ICE for doing their jobs. They're intervening with ICE doing their jobs. That's why they're getting shot and killed, rightfully so. I defend ICE doing their jobs. Both of those deaths of whatever their names were could have been completely avoidable. Probably better off without them regardless. And yeah, I mean, Obama was like a 3.1 mass deportation. Donald Trump are not doing well, probably like 890. I mean, Biden was up there like 1.1, something like that. So it's just the hypocrisy of it all. It's like if some people are against it, some people are for it. I want every single illegal out of the country, every single one at any cost. And then other than that, I just think it's funny that when he does it, it's different. Kids in cages, all this stuff. I mean, they've all been doing it, so I just don't know why they care when Trump does it.
Well, there's actually a lot that you said there that I want to touch on, and I'm sure that we will during this topic. And it's funny because you actually brought up one of the main reasons why his mass deportation has been so anti-American within your first breath. You said there's nothing anti-American about protecting citizens, and then you brought up an example of ICE executing a citizen on the streets of this country. Of course, you went on to say that it was completely justified and that we're better off without them. Let's go ahead and focus in on one of the three citizens who has been murdered by ICE, and that will be Alex Preddy. So first, you made a very bold claim. A man lost his life, a mother lost his son, a father lost his son, a hospital lost one of their nurses, and I think the world lost a good man. And your takeaway is we're better off without them, and that the shooting's justified. So Emily, tell me, what is the legal standard that authorizes an LEO in engaging in the use of lethal force, ending the life of an American?
I don't know. Go ahead and tell me.
If you don't know the legal standard that justifies a shooting, then why the hell are you sitting here saying the shooting was justified?
So here, Emily claims that Alex Preddy and others killed by ICE deserved it. And Dean asks her to explain why, and she can't. This is a perfect call out by Dean. She basically admits it's justified just because she feels that way. Facts over feelings, right?
Why are you going to a protest? If people love you and care about you and you're a normal, productive citizen, you are not going to interfere with ICE protests, okay? Especially when they're getting death threats up like 5,000%, okay? Yes, you went in to stir up trouble. You're mentally ill. That's why you can't be at your job or with your friends anymore. Your family doesn't give a shit about you, or else you wouldn't be at an ICE protest because you're not a productive citizen. And other than that, when I see it, I'm like, it's justified. Guess what? If I thought someone was going to harm me or my life, I would choose me over them.
So to clarify, your claim is, I have no clue what the legal standard is that justifies an LEO to shoot and kill an American, but I think Alex Preddy was mentally ill, therefore I think it's okay.
Dean's right here. She's speaking with total confidence, but has no real grounding for what she's saying. It's just a lot of words with no substance.
I think it was justified because of his actions. That is why. Those are other things on top of it, which led to this point. But yes, in my eyes, it is justified.
Perfect. What actions?
What actions? When you're going out of your way to go to ICE protests, harass them from doing their job, you're on camera. First of all, if you even look like you have he went with a gun, did he not? Did he not have a loaded gun?
Yes, he did have a gun on his holster, but you should know that in accordance with the Second, Fourth, and 14th Amendment, merely being in possession of a firearm does not authorize an LEO to literally shoot and kill you. So once again, I'll ask, what actions did he engage in that justified the shooting? You said he was harassing them. How was he harassing them that justified them literally killing him?
Okay, it's on video. You've seen the video and I've seen the video. That's what happened. You're going out of your way at a protest. He's been at many other protests. All these people are at every protest. They're known to harm people. They're harassing people, probably online talking about killing ICE agents. You're gonna go to a protest with a gun and a cop sees it as you're harassing these ICE officers that are getting threatened every day. Dude, it's not even a Republican thing, a Democrat thing. It is a common sense thing. It is a common sense thing. I would never, yes, CCWs, I understand. I would never bring a gun to any Trump rally, anti-Trump. That is just not, it's just not a smart thing to do. That's why you end up dead.
Okay, condemn Kyle Rittenhouse.
So here, Dean points out the hypocrisy. The right celebrated Kyle Rittenhouse for going armed to a protest and killing protesters. Meanwhile, she's condemning Preddy, who had his firearm holstered, posed zero threat, and was killed by ICE. It's just a clear double standard. In this clip, she does actually go on to condemn Kyle Rittenhouse, but it was more because she was acting like she didn't know anything about the situation. But Dean pointing out that hypocrisy was correct. All right, let's jump into a different subject.
My first face-off claim is Democrats are the biggest threat to children in this country.
So clearly the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you for your argument insofar as why you think Democrats are the biggest threat to children in this country. But I want you to keep in mind the hurdles that you have to overcome, most predominantly the fact that the GOP, not the Democrats, are championing an adjudicated rapist as president, somebody who's also boasted about the sexual exploitation of women and girls by barging into their dressing rooms and looking at their naked bodies, on top of the cover-up we see downstream of Donald Trump's administration and the federal government of the co-conspirators, predators, and child rapists inside of the Epstein files. So once again, why do you think Democrats are the biggest threat to children in this country?
Okay, first of all, the whole rapist claim is so insane to me. How many people have been sued for calling him a rapist? That's not true. He's not a rapist, or else he would have been charged, and I assume he would have been in jail for that. So throwing that out is not a good way to go about it. You know better than that. I'm sure you understand laws a lot better than I do. That's not my strong field. Not a convicted rapist, okay? I would not support him if he was a convicted rapist, nor would other Republicans. The comments of locker room boy talk.
This moment really got to me. Dean basically has his Jim Halpert moment looking at the camera because Trump has been found civilly liable in the E. Jean Carroll case. I mean, I guess Emily doesn't know that, but in the next clip, he actually lays it out for her.
2 years ago, a civil court held him liable for the rape of E. Jean Carroll, and you still voted for him. You're a hypocrite.
Okay. The E. Jean Carroll, okay, so he's guilty, so he's a rapist. Why is he not in jail?
Because I'll help you with knowledge here about the criminal justice system inside of America. Civil courts determine financial responsibility, not criminal responsibility. So when he was found guilty, he wasn't put in a jail cell. He was only forced to pay $87 million. And before you ask, the reason why he couldn't or wasn't found guilty inside of a criminal court of law is because of the statute of limitations on the crime had expired, meaning even if E. Jean Carroll had a video of it happening to her, she was not able to pursue criminal charges. Therefore, a claim of liability in a civil court of law was the best option she had available.
Again, Dean having to explain very basic, widely known facts in real time, and that was the pattern the entire debate, emotion versus information.
I think this is an emotionally driven position. You can't tell me that the economic trends we saw years ago because of the pandemic that were straightened out by the Biden-Harris administration. After the pandemic, under the Biden-Harris administration, we saw two 50-year record low levels of unemployment. After the pandemic, we saw a rebound in investment. After the pandemic, we saw a rebound in GDP growth. After the pandemic, we saw a rebound in many markets. And the one lingering thing that is still affecting many Americans is the price of houses and the prices of goods. But keep in mind, a lot of the data points that I shared weren't really too concerned by prices. It's just emotional. There's no basis to your position. And I only think the reason why you're attempting to reach all the way back into the pandemic to justify that I'm wrong and it's all the Democrats' faults is because you don't know the data like I do. It doesn't seem like you know a lot of things. Your only position in this debate is to spark fake outrage, tell me I'm crazy and liberals suck, when in all reality, I don't think you've opened up a textbook on economics for 5 years.
And that's the through line here. Emily leans on emotion and narratives while Dean keeps grounding everything in facts, even if he has to repeat himself constantly. And honestly, I watch these debates and I always wonder, does anyone actually walk away and think that Emily won this debate? Even her supporters, even Republicans, do they walk away and think that she won? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.